Action fanatics, welcome to another edition of the Bulletproof Podcast. I'm your host, Chris the Brain. Joining me once again, it is Chad Cruz back in the co-host chair. Chad, welcome back.
Thank you very much. It does pay me a little bit to hear you say joining me and not as always.
Yeah.
Because as you know, if you've listened to this podcast for the last several months, I've missed a few episodes, and I hate to say it, but as bad as it sounds to hear you say that, it's also bad to hear that these podcasts without me are pretty good.
They're not too bad, but of course we always want you here, Chad.
Thanks.
It's always great to have you, and it makes it more special now. You're kind of like our Roman Reigns. You come in for the big shows.
Okay, I'll take that.
You're not always here week after week, so we'll go with that. Another man back on the show. We haven't had him on in a bit. The Toyman, Chris DePetrillo. Welcome back, Toyman.
Thank you very much for having me. Glad to join you gentlemen as always.
And we have been in the midst of Ninja Week on bulletproofaction.com, but I want to talk about something that's going to happen next. This is going to drop on the 16th. At least that's the plan. This show's dropping on the 16th, 1 week from today. If you are in the Cincinnati area, Williamsburg, Ohio, to be specific, it's Battle in Berg 3. We've been talking about this for the past couple shows, Chad.
Yep.
And you can get tickets at thebattleinberg.com. Aaron Williams, our old friend, teaming up with another friend of ours, Mr. Paul London, who was on our Over the Top episode. One of the most listened to episodes of the year, by the way.
Fantastic.
Maybe in the history of the show as well. They are teaming up to take on WTF Ron Mathis and Bruce Gray. And we talked about the possibility, and it has now happened. EC3 is the new NWA World Champion, and he is defending that title in Williamsburg against Lord Crew. So we're going to have an NWA World Title match. I'm going to be calling an NWA World Title match. I did not have that on my bingo card, as they say.
Oh man, I bet I'm assuming you've been doing some serious research and studying, so you can drop so many great NWA just historical references. I expect that out of you.
I'm going to do my best. So yeah, that's all taking place next Saturday, September 23rd in Williamsburg, Ohio. You can go get tickets at thebattleinberg.com. I will link that again on our site, bulletproofaction.com. And as I just mentioned, we've been having ninja content all week. We love ninjas here at Bulletproof Action and on the Bulletproof Podcast. And we're going to be talking about a movie that was ranked number 1 on our Ultimate Ninja Countdown back in 2021. And this was one of those podcasts where if we did not have Toyman on it, he would probably disown us. Because this is one of his all-time favorite films. And I don't blame him. We're talking about the canon classic, Revenge of the Ninja, Sho Kosugi. Oh, he's the closest thing to a real ninja any of us have seen and lived to tell about it. True or false?
Yeah.
Absolutely true. Undoubtedly true.
Right? Because if you saw a real ninja, you're not able to speak. You're dead.
Yeah, we get it.
Okay.
Unless it was one of Godfrey Ho's ninjas.
Yeah. You enjoy those movies, don't you?
Well, we did discuss one of them earlier today, so I can't say that I'm giving the one that I watched earlier a ringing endorsement, but you can find out more about that. Actually, by the time this airs, most people will have found out more about that.
They would have found out. Again, we're talking Revenge of the Ninja, 40-year anniversary this year. It actually had its New York City premiere on September 7th, but as this drops on 9/16, that is when it hit nationwide back in 1983. And Chad, what a director for this one. One of our favorites, Mr. Sam Furstenberg.
I mean, maybe the preeminent ninja director alive. And I know you've read his books, and we've done an interview with Mr. Furstenberg, and we've talked just an insane amount. Written a lot of words about his movies and films, and there's obvious love there from us. And all you have to do is think about what he's done for the action genre. And you know that we love guys like him, guys who really spent their career just kind of making films that speak to us, the three of us. Like we kind of live and breathe that shit. And it's, I don't know, it's one of those things where it was only a matter of time, I think, until we talked about Revenge of the Ninja, because it's got such a special place in all of our hearts.
And this was actually Furstenberg's first action movie. So he came out swinging his rookie action movie, and he did a fantastic job.
Cheers to
And
him.
there we go. Chad Cruz is getting himself ready to talk about this, because let's start. The movie starts off hot, Chris. We get this evil ninja clan attacking these basically just seem like innocent people. We find out they are relatives of our hero, Sho. Do they call him Sho or Cho? Sho, I think.
It's
I believe
Cho in the
But they
movie, but I
spell
mean
it.
the pronunciation is a little off in a couple of
Yeah,
areas.
it's like they just call him Sho, but they, yeah. Well, anyway, he attacks the family. I mean, you're moments into this thing, and there's a kid with a shuriken in his head.
Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
off to a rocking start.
right?
I mean, not only are you getting a ninja assault on a compound, on a house out there somewhere in Japan, but they are taking no prisoners. Even the kids are getting it.
Yeah, right in the. So yeah, it's like at that point you either know, okay, this movie is definitely for me, or you would have turned it off at this point. If you even like, why are you watching a ninja movie if you're offended by this? But for the most part, if you watched it, you're like, fuck yeah, basically.
you kind of instantly know how hard we're going to go.
Yeah.
Because there's so many family members there, right? These evil ninja clan members attack this innocent seeming family that are just kind of wandering around, chilling, enjoying
Enjoying
the
their
weather.
beautiful garden and
Yeah.
the outdoors. Yeah.
And they don't. There's so many people there. You don't have to kill a kid, but the
Right.
fact that they do, it just kind of like raises it up a few notches.
Yeah. And there's actually an infant child as well, but the mother hides him in the trees, in the bushes.
Yeah.
And but then when she comes back from that, she gets an arrow right to her chest, so she's done. It's brutal. And if remembering the Electric Boogaloo documentary, I don't think, Chris, this was originally the beginning of the movie, but when they put what they had together, Menachem Golan, being the genius that he is, just kind of spit this out, just like envision this attack on a family, and we went from there. So good on them. We see Sho Kosugi and his buddy Braden come in. They were obviously somewhere else on this sprawling estate when these ninja attacks, and Braden's really trying to sell Sho on the idea of moving to LA and running a Japanese art gallery, because that's the real trendy thing on the West Coast, and they can make some money. But
I mean, what an opportunistic, piece of crap. Like, you just watched your friend's family get
no, well,
slaughtered
they don't know
and
that
had to
yet.
help them.
Yeah.
He hasn't.
Well,
They're just talking, and then all of a sudden, Joe looks, and he's like, "Wait a minute, whoa, slow your roll, if you will. Take a look. There's dead people all around, bud." And Braden pulls out his gun. Joe goes and sees his son. We find out that's his son who had the shuriken in his head. He's pulling the shuriken out, and here comes the ninjas again. And now Cho's fighting them. Braden shooting some of them. I think the arrow catching, though, is the highlight here, Chad.
It sure is. And you know what? I'm so thankful that they kind of went back and used that again later in American Ninja, because that's one of my favorite scenes in American Ninja. And, it probably would have never happened if it hadn't turned out so badass in this.
Right.
And it's so cool because, most ninja movies you see a ninja use a sword. You see a ninja maybe climb a wall with his little fucking hand spiky gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
But in this movie, in literally the first scenes of the film, we get to see ninjas kill people with pretty much all their weapons. And then, Braden shows up and he's got a pistol. So he starts shooting bastards.
Which I think helps too, because at this point you just think, okay, this is his, Sho's friend from the States. He's
an American. Of course, he's got a gun.
He's got a gun, right? That's where I was going. He's a freaking gun nut, just like all Americans are. So we get that. We do get a bit of a sword fight to wrap things up, and then when that's done, Cho realizes his infant son is nearby, and also his mother has survived. I don't know where she was during all of this, but we do know she does have ninja skills, so maybe she did the little smoke bomb gimmick and disappeared. And this is now Braden's like, now he's really
Yeah.
doing the hard sell. Like, look, you can't be living here and dealing with this kind of crap forever. Come on to LA, like I said, and your family will be safe. Bring your mom, bring your son. And Sho's mom is instantly like, I don't like this man. And obviously,
Oh,
the
there's
Toyman
intuition.
has already said he doesn't like him either.
This would be like, when you go to the grocery store and there's like an AT&T guy there,
Oh,
and they're trying to like, hey, who's your provider?
yeah.
This would be like, you're like, blowing them off, and all of a sudden your phone in your pocket explodes. And they're like, well,
Excellent.
it seems you need a new one.
Excellent real world example there, Chad.
You know what I do when those people stop me?
Do you punch him in the face? Because
No,
that's
they
what I'd
say,
like to do.
hey, you have a minute to talk. And as they say that, I look down at their shirt and see what it says. And then whatever they ask me, that's who I have.
Nice.
Yes.
Chad Cruz is really giving you some life hacks, everyone.
Yep.
I hope you're taking notes or just remembering this. So now the movie skips ahead 6 years, and the once infant is now obviously probably 6 years old, 6 or 7, I would think, because it was a very small child. It's Kane, and it is played by Kane Kosugi. This is his acting debut, and he's walking home from school with Grandma, and a group of bullies start messing with Kane. And we get to see Kane Kosugi's very first fight scene in history as well. And he handles himself pretty well, Chad.
He does, yeah, remarkably well for a 6-year-old. It's an interesting scene when you think about these bullies attacking a 6-year-old boy, and then the grandmother
Trying to run him over with a bicycle.
Yeah, he's like a jousting moment with a bicycle, and the mom's just kind of like, yay, 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 and she's like cheering him on as he's beating the shit out of these kids. But yeah, it's also like, it's almost like there's moments in this film where where kids get shurikens in their forehead and get killed.
Yeah.
And then there's moments where you're like kind of laughing at a children's fight.
Yeah.
Or like someone, a kid running between someone's legs or something. So it's kind of like a weird a spread of action in this, but the scene, it was unexpected. I remember the first time I saw it as a kid, I probably loved it because I was also pretty young. But
right
now when I watch it, I'm like, does this really fit?
Yeah. It certainly does not. They got the worst. It's like the preliminary match on the show, because after that we get some really awesome fight scenes.
Yeah, the first fight is where people are being murdered by ninjas. The second fight
that's
is a
true.
6-year-old fighting 10-year-olds. So it's just a bit off.
And Braden, you didn't take your opportunity to do it's gotta be Kane.
It's
you could have easily slipped that one in there, right there.
Yeah, Vince spoiling the Kane surprise. So Sho does show up, and he is pissed that Kane is fighting, but Grandma's like, hey, we're a ninja family.
Yeah,
you need to at least teach him how to be a ninja. And Sho's like, you know what, you're right, but we're only going to do it as practice and to honor our tradition. I don't want him going out there ninja killing people, which makes sense as well.
Yeah.
So when they get back, he's showing Kane as the sword, and it's sealed forever, and that's like a Terry Funk forever, as you can figure. But we'll get to that. And now I need to turn to Chad Cruz for this, because we're introduced to Cathy.
Yes.
And she doesn't have any pants on.
No, she doesn't.
Much like Chad right now.
Much like me right now. And her and I are equal levels of tan.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm pasty white.
You're pasty white.
But yeah, she's introduced in the film with no pants on. And even Cho was like, you got no pants on. Like, are you here for training? Because you have no pants on. And then clearly she wants to train, but she also wants to get banged.
Yeah.
So they do a little bit of training, and then she's just kind of like
mounting him.
Yeah. Flaunting her sexuality.
He's mounting her, yeah.
Her feminine wiles.
He's not totally into it. You can tell that. But I think there's also, this thought in his mind that she's got a great set of tits, and
Yeah, she
he'd
may have
probably
felt
like to see him.
she may have felt his
Only a
other
ninja can
sword.
bang a ninja.
Ooh, there
Oof.
you go. She may have felt his other sword being as
Yes,
close
the
as
short
they
sword.
were. Yeah. Uh, so now after that little interlude, we see that she's not just a student; she's working with him at this gallery, and they're unpacking these beautiful dolls that have arrived.
For no money, by the way.
Yeah, and Braden shows up. He's just got some random woman on his arm. He's like, "Hey, check out my new gallery that's going to be opening." And she's checking. She goes to the ninja doll and actually touches the sword and cuts her finger. So these dolls are about as authentic as can be. Is this the type of authenticity we can expect at Figures Toy Company?
I mean, right
Do
now we've
your
got plastic
sword
swords, but
do your
if I were
swords
if I were able to do some actual ninja figures, who knows? Maybe we could do actual metal swords.
That would be wild. That would be so irresponsible.
so yeah, she gets cut with the ninja doll sword, and Braden mentions, hey, money's easy to find, but good men like you not so much. So again, Braden at this point, we don't really, other than grandma being like, I don't like this guy,
Yeah.
there's he's kind of a show off. He's he's a big mouth, loudmouth American with a gun and showing off his gallery.
Yeah,
I
don't
don't
see any
know.
problem with that.
No. So after that, like we get later on, Kane is in there deciding he wants to check out this gallery too. And he accidentally knocks one of the dolls off its pedestal. The doll breaks when it hits the ground, and there's like white powder all over the floor. Of course, he doesn't understand what's going on. He's just like, oh shit, I broke something. Cathy's there. She chews him out, and never you have to promise me never to touch these dolls again. I won't tell your dad this happened, but you can't touch those. And now is when things take a turn, Chris, because we find out there's some rotten things going on.
Yeah, meaning Cathy reporting to Braden that she's the mole in the organization. She's his undercover lover, keeping an eye on the gallery, which is being used for his drug smuggling operation.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so now Grandma definitely was right about this man. And we find out Braden's cut this big deal with a mob boss, Cafano, who we meet as he's getting a rub down from his brother Joe, played by John LaMotta. Did you recognize Mr. LaMotta, Chad Cruz?
No.
Sergeant
Wait a minute.
Ronaldo in American Ninja.
Oh,
Yeah.
How about that?
Mr. Achmonic from Alf.
Mr. Achmonic
I
from
definitely
Alf.
didn't recognize him from that.
He's also a cop in Ninja 3. He was an actual friend of Sam Furstenberg.
How about that?
So
He was
Sam,
also a friend of Don the Dragon Wilson in Blood Fist 4 Die Trying.
Yeah.
which we
More
just
Don the Dragon Wilson.
we just covered. We had a weekend full of the dragon.
We had the Dragon
birthday.
weekend right before Ninja Week.
It's been a martial arts mania over at Bulletproof Action.
You asked me that question, and I was like, in my mind, I was still thinking about Cathy's tan body, but also,
sure you were.
but also, I was going to say that you can also guarantee that none of the figures at figurestoycompany.com are full of heroin.
No,
they are not.
None of them. I just wanted to put that out there.
Although I'm sure Chris and his company would not mind if you bought tons of them to test that theory
collecting
out for
is
yourself.
addicting. Get addicted to the collection.
Get addicted,
and then run out of space like me and Brain have.
Yes.
Yeah. You got to do a whole overhaul to keep all the stuff.
You have to actually have children to like. You're like, I have to have a kid so I can, justify all this toy buying.
I haven't gone down that path. I just
Well, my kid is now doing all of his comic book buying, which I already do. So now it's like, do I do more comic book buying, or I just kind of stay the course?
Yeah, just let him buy the comics, and then you could buy the figures.
Double up, dude. Double up.
So yeah, Braden's there. Hey, the heroin's here. I'm going to need the rest of that money now. So we find out Cafano paid like a down payment, $100,000. And he's like, oh, that's great. I'll have it to you in a couple days. Oh, that's not good enough, though. So these two are going back and forth, basically a pissing contest. And Kavana's like, I could just deal with these people myself then. Why am I dealing with you, middleman Braden? And that's when Braden gets pissed and he's like, you go behind my back. You better not. Don't mess with these Japanese because you don't even know me yet. And obviously, nobody really knows him yet because, we just thought he was Sho's friend, but we're quickly finding out he's not because we now see him. He is a frickin' ninja. He didn't need to use that gun, Chad Cruz.
No, he didn't.
He could have ninja'd the other ninjas.
He could have, for sure.
And he's got the cool silver mask. Wasn't it Naito? Did he have a mask like that?
Yeah, he did. I think he still uses it every once in a while.
It's a good look.
Now that Braden has made that threat, do we think about the fact that now that we know that he's threatened him, and now that we see that he's the Silver Mask Ninja here, why did he say, don't fuck with the Japanese? Because there's no Japanese ninja coming after him. It's Braden.
Well, maybe he's just trying to keep up appearances. Like he's, he doesn't want to reveal all his cards yet. So like, hey, I've got these powerful friends. You don't want to mess with them. But really, he's just him.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got from it.
But at the same time, he did have to get that heroin from somebody. So there is somebody on the other side of the world sending him this stuff. So maybe, I don't know. That's a good point.
I actually hadn't watched this movie in a long time.
I find that hard to believe.
I was like, who are the evil ninjas at the beginning? Like,
I think they're just Braden's
fucking
boys.
evil
I think
ninjas,
they're the
right?
people who taught Braden. Is what I took.
You think so?
Yeah, like that
Oh,
was his,
let's see. I never even put that one together. See, that's a good point. That's a good observation.
Probably was like, okay, guys, and they're probably the ones who have control of the drugs over there too. It's all interconnected, I bet.
I wish we'd heard that. I know at one point later in the film, spoiler alert, Cho says, he studied and he was in Japan for 20 years and he studied whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's who those guys were, but
he took business management classes at the Ninja Academy.
Yeah, Ninja Academy.
So he could open up galleries.
Got an associate's degree there.
Yeah. So we see Braden packing his ninja bag.
Hey, do you know what, Braden?
What's that?
The worst thing about taking classes at Ninja Academy.
What's that, sir?
All the classes are at night.
Okay.
That's like a really bad joke.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Is this thing on?
Sorry.
Are we still recording?
Wouldn't they have the classes during the day so the ninjas could go out at night and do what their ninja stuff they have to do?
They're taking classes at night because they're training to be ninjas.
Okay.
It's mostly it's mostly field work. It's there's not a lot of classroom stuff.
Okay. Well,
you can't teach someone how to throw a goddamn grappling hook in a classroom.
No, you really can't.
You have to do it on a 16th century Japanese castle.
All right, it makes sense, I guess. Whatever you're saying. So the ninja bag is packed, and he's going to find Joe and his family at the park having a nice lunch. But boy, those beers go right through you, Chad Cruz, don't they?
They sure do.
So Joe and Braden has the wherewithal to know this, so he just like, this guy's gonna have to piss sooner or later. I'm just gonna hang out here in this men's room at the park. That's not suspicious at all. So he's in there, and then Joe does have to take a piss, and when he gets in there, it's the last piss he's ever gonna take, because he is the first victim of the one and only Silver Mask Ninja. This obviously gets his brother's attention, and on his way into his high-rise building that's also his house and like an office building, it's a strange setup. He's got his like street informant who looks like somebody you might encounter in your work, Chad.
Yes.
He's got an eye patch and he looks slovenly. And hey, have you heard anything about
Kaifano does not want to be touched by him.
Yeah, he keeps touching Kaifano, and he's like, ugh, that gives him the heebie-jeebies. Hey, have you heard anything about the Japanese looking to muscle in here on my turf? Oh, and he just says some crap. And it really isn't much help, but well, keep your ear to the street and let me know if you hear anything. They go to walk into the building. A shuriken comes flying from high above, obviously somewhere. And again, this man had an eye patch, but the Braden chose to hit him in his good eye.
Oh,
No, that's a good heal.
Yeah.
what a dick move.
And so he goes face down in the fountain outside the building, and then Kafano goes back, and they turn him over, and he's like, "What the shit is this?" He doesn't know what a shuriken is.
Right. These guys actually live in the 80s.
Right.
Like they probably weren't watching Enter the Ninja.
No, mob bosses weren't. Well, yeah, they're not watching Enter the Ninja. Although it did have Franco Nero in it, so maybe they would have.
They might have, yeah. He was Italian, right?
They knew of his work from other films. So now Braden's next target is Kafano's pretty boy nephew, and he gets him while he's in a hot tub with his lady friend, and they both get a blow dart.
That's how I want to go, guys.
Blow dart.
I like how you said they both get a blow dart, as if that was one of the sexual positions they were trying.
Well, blow dart.
She would have some amazing lung power if she had to go under the water, and well, never mind.
You never
well,
know,
she did go under the water, but she didn't make it back up.
No, she did not.
No.
So this gave us a little opportunity for some gratuitous nudity.
Yeah.
And you have an R-rated film because you're throwing shurikens in kids' eyes 2 minutes in, so you may as well take full advantage of the R rating.
I feel like when you're doing a film like this, you make an outline, right? You get okay. All right, so we're gonna split this movie up into like 8 sections. We're gonna put a fight scene at the end of each section. Right. We need to put a titty here somewhere in here, maybe a titty here, and then we'll kill a kid here. Maybe what do you want to use shuriken? Yeah, okay, we'll use that, and then we'll kill attempt to murder another kid here. You just kind of fit it in,
Yeah. You need it's sensational. You need to make sure you have highs, high. Very few lows in this movie. Just keeps going.
I thought that was a Japanese.
Well, it could have been. Cops show up. Obviously, this happens when people are murdered. The cops are there. Kafano shows up. Lieutenant Dime is the man in charge of this investigation. Asks Kafano, "Hey, do you know who's trying to do this to your family?" And of course, Kafano's, "I'm not saying nothing. He's not going to cooperate with the police. He's going to handle this business himself." Or so he thinks.
But doesn't he also say, like, you know as much as I know?
Right.
Yeah, so you're like, oh, shit. He doesn't know who's killing his people.
Right. But you got to believe Dime wouldn't believe him anyway. No matter what, he's probably not going to believe him because he's a mobster.
Right.
We now meet another great character in this film, Dave Hatcher of the LAPD, who's teaching some of the cops some karate skills, and he was played by none other than Mr. Keith Vitali, who is in so many great seasonal films that we've talked about many, many times on the Bulletproof Action. And Lieutenant Dime shows up since they're kind of getting the feeling that these are martial arts related deaths because you've got the shuriken, you got the blow darts. You're the only guy we know that knows anything about martial arts, apparently. So
I don't know any of the Japanese guys.
What can you tell us, Mr. Vitali or Mr. Hatcher? And they show the X-rays of a broken femur and like how that could even happen. I mean, that's the biggest bone. Could a martial artist do such a thing? Well, I don't think so, or they'd have to be very specially trained. Let's ask my Japanese friend. And then we cut to a great scene here, Chris, because we get to see Vitali and Kosugi in action.
Yeah, a babyface match, some good old practice as Dave tries to convince Joe to just come down and give him a hand and kind of consult on the case.
And indeed, they go there. He tells them about the star shuriken, but then also mentions he really has no time. I'm about to open a new gallery. He reminded me of Mr. Majestic at this point, because Mr. Majestic was all about getting that watermelon crop in, and he didn't care what all the other shit that was going on around. He's like, I got to get my watermelons in. Sho just wants to get that damn gallery open. That's the whole purpose he moved, is to do this gallery.
And you know what I love, Brain, about Cho in this
What's
film?
that?
I love the fact that not only is he an expert in the physical skills that it takes to be a ninja, but he also he gives a lot of things that aren't just fighting, right? So that they're still showing him the ninja star, and he talks about the length of the star and how it's designed specifically so it can enter the brain. And that it's made it's an expertly made shuriken, so he could kill somebody with it. It's not like this isn't some shit you buy in a flea market. And when they're asking Keith Vitali about, when they're showing him the X-rays, they're like, here, it also kind of makes martial artists, it puts them up on a bit of a pedestal, right? We already have ninjas on a pedestal. It's already this mystical art, it's magic shit, and they're throwing smoke bombs and whatnot. But now martial arts itself is like, hey, look at this. Could someone do this with your guys' abilities? And he's like, oh, yeah, that could be done. I don't know anybody who could, but I know a guy who may know. So it's it's got this really magical, mystical quality to it. And it's almost like a superpower, which is pretty awesome.
And
nowadays they would just look it up on the internet.
Exactly.
Just Google search it.
Exactly. And
on their watch.
I'm glad you mentioned that about the weapons and how he knew about how it was, because from what I understand, Sho made a lot of the weapons, if not all the weapons used in his movies. A lot of the swords and the shuriken. So yeah, he knows. Again, he's a freaking real ninja, I think.
Right. And it's always the subtleties, right? When he's telling his son about his sword and how it's sealed forever, and he's showing the seal, right? And then later in the film, when he finally, spoiler alert, he finally breaks the seal, it's a big deal, right? He's like, snap, he has to do it. It's not just oops, I accidentally broke the seal.
Right.
He has to physically rip it apart, which is great.
And we get to see his awesome reflexes when he catches the cup of coffee as it's falling before it makes a mess. So he's the real deal. We then cut to Braden's place, where he's really coming on strong to poor Cathy. I mean, he's basically forcing himself on her. Fortunately for her, the little session there is interrupted because Kaifano calls. Braden says, he wants the cash in advance now, and then once he gets that, they can meet up at the gallery to pick up the merchandise. Cathy went to the other room, picked up the other phone, eavesdropping the whole time. So she's obviously torn between working with Braden and knowing that what he's doing is wrong. And it seems like perhaps, Chris, she's actually developed genuine feelings for Sho and his family.
Yeah, she's ready to take her pants off again. And she's trying to determine the best course of action for that. But she's caught in the act, because this will lead to something later. But Braden's henchman, played by Professor Toru Tanaka, catches wind of her eavesdropping and seems to like what he sees of Miss Cathy in a bathrobe.
Yeah, he's there. And yeah, we get Kaifano after this call with Braden. He's pissed off. I love that he has a Native American henchman named Chief.
It's so awesome. It's so outlandish.
It's why is this
and
happening?
He orders him to scalp anyone who gets in his way.
Exactly.
Fucking great. And then later he has fucking tomahawks. It's so good. It doesn't fit in the movie.
No, but it does.
Also does. It works so well.
See, we need to make a Sho Kosugi figures toy company just so I can have it fight my Spirit classified figure from G.I. Joe.
Exactly. Or Apache Chief from the Super.
Yes,
right.
From Super Friends. That's right.
I was watching this a couple nights ago, Brain, and there was 2 parts where I turned it down so no one would walk in and see how ridiculous it was. One was the eventual fight scene with Chief, and the other was the later on when Kane is is fighting Cathy. And I was like, man, I don't want to have to explain this to anybody because it's so ridiculous.
Now, wait, given the catalog of things that we have all watched, whether it be for review fodder for the
Yeah.
site or just in general, this was one of the movies you've decided to hide from people?
Well, normally I only hide hardcore pornography from people, but even now, I mean, even then, it's like, am I hiding that or am I hiding myself?
Right.
Hiding your own shame.
Hiding my own shame and boner.
Jack Cruz is back. So yeah, Chief and he rounded up some goons, and they go to the park behind the alley, or in the alley behind the gallery, and they're loading up the van with the stolen dolls, which obviously contain the heroin. And this one shows up, and now all hell's gonna break loose, and including Chief was like up in an upper window, and he does this huge jump, and he's got this little like wooden crate, and just freaking smashes it over Joe's head. But man, that Joe, he's tough because he recovers very quickly as the guys are driving away now with all the stolen merchandise. Joe chases them on foot. He jumps over a fence and lands on top of the van. It's a thing of beauty. Eventually smashes through the windshield. Now he's fighting in the van, which obviously this is causing the driving to be quite erratic. They're hitting cars. They're hitting a fire hydrant.
They're running through bus stops.
Right. Running through bus stops at 3:00. No, it's in the middle of the day. So at one point, everyone just gets thrown from the vehicle.
Yeah.
So now they're just fighting on the street. So just pick right up where they left off. It's one of the more memorable scenes from this movie, filled with memorable scenes. One of the goons does get back in the van. There's a gun in the glove compartment, so he starts shooting, which gives him time to drive away. But Cho is not giving. Those are his. He's got to open this freaking gallery.
Those are my fucking dolls, man.
So he goes after the van again. He's hanging on to the back door that pops off. The top hinge pops off, so it's dragging now. His pants are all torn up. He's beat to shit, and eventually he just can't hold on any longer. And there goes the van, and the dolls get away.
There are two things that I love about this scene. One is just the mean face that they zoom in on when Sho opens the back door and sees them stealing his shit, and he's just like, "You motherfuckers are about to pay." And then after he's hit by the flying Native American with the crate in his hand, when they push the barrels onto him, you can see that he's already been laying on the first layer of barrels for the scene. So it looks like he's just taking a nap mid-fight to get the rest of them pushed on him. It's just a nice little blooper in an otherwise great scene.
I wish so much that Chief had made some sort of like a
Tatanka war cry.
A war cry as he jumped off that second story window.
Yeah.
But you know what I can imagine Sam Furstenberg showing this clip to the the studio or whatever, and being like, "So what do you think?" And they're like, "Are you fucking high?" Like,
I don't think so. I think Menachem loved it.
He's going nuts.
I mean, this was 40 years ago, and Sam Furstenberg did what every commercial and show and everything does now, where he had like one of everybody in a role. Like we've got the Japanese guy, the white guy, the Italian guy, the Native American guy, the black cop, the white cop. Like he covered all his bases. There was a lot of diversification in Revenge of the Ninja.
There was. Good point. So now Cathy, once again, getting herself in some trouble. She's on the phone trying to call Sho to warn him, but of course it's a little late for that. That's when Toru Tanaka stops her. Another one. Yep. We must have been going for a while. Braden, in his ninja garb, has now made it over to the gallery. So he's like, all right, I got to go get these dolls because I bet that Kafano's going to try to screw me. The problem is Kafano already screwed him.
Oh, yeah.
But the grandma is there, and she hears something because she has ninja skills. And she catches Braden trying to get away. She uses her ninja grandma powers to try to stop him. But Ninja Grandma quickly becomes dead Ninja Grandma.
Yeah, she does. But she did, I mean, while she was still living Ninja Grandma, she was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those, especially if it's the first time you see it, you're like, what the hell?
What? Yeah,
The handspring and backflip.
that's
Yeah,
great.
she was good.
Then she throws the little ninja smoke gimmick down and she
Mhm.
disappears. It's great. Man, I love ninja movies.
And she's behind the wall, but he knew, and he got her right through the wall.
Yeah, the wall that you can see through.
The
Yeah.
paper wall, yeah.
He saw her silhouette of her titty or something.
Oh, jeez.
Stabbed
now,
right through her.
Don't get me wrong. This scene sets up an amazing second half of this film. But if Braden is the one bringing the dolls in, why couldn't he just go to the gallery as Braden and be like, "Oh, there was a
I did
mistake
wonder,
in
yeah,
shipment,"
like he didn't
or
have to be all sneaky. Yeah, I thought that too after watching again. This has been the year of I rewatch these movies and I'm picking out things that I've never worried about before in my life.
It's a problem.
Thanks, podcast, for making me
Yeah.
be critical of everything.
Yeah, you know what? I think it makes you feel even better when you watch a movie and you're like, "Yep, it's even better than I remember."
Right.
So that makes me feel good sometimes when rewatch something. I'm like, God damn, this movie was so good.
Mm-hmm. And this was, I mean, that was like the one
Yeah.
little thing that I was like, yeah, why didn't he just say, "This is my gallery, I'm gonna," yeah. I think he just like playing dress up. Or maybe Arthur Roberts wasn't available that day. So they just used the silver mask.
You got the suit, why not wear it, right?
Yeah. So after dead grandma, Braden takes his mask off. This is
Gesundheit.
Bless you. There's
Ninja
a mute,
sneeze.
There's a mute button. Braden uses the stairs. Oh wait, Braden unmasks, and he looks up, and the same little like skylight gimmick that he used to come down in. There's Kane, who he sees dead grandma. He sees Ninja unmasking. It's Braden. And he's like, oh shit! Now I got to kill freaking Kane because he's seen me. He climbs up his rope ladder, but Kane, very resourceful, cuts the ladder. Braden then has to go use the stairs to get up to the roof. And Kane's hiding around up there. And he does manage to evade the Silver Mask Ninja at this point, Chad. Because, he's using his small size to his advantage.
He really does. And it's impressive. I remember when I was younger, I used to always, I saw the Friday the 13th films at a very young age, way too young.
Yes.
And it used to scare me. So I would always think about things like that. Like, what would I do if Jason Voorhees came to kill me? And I was always like, I'd just go into a field and stand in the middle of a field. And if he started walking toward me, I'd go the other way.
You've been so smart your whole life, Chad.
He's not going to catch me. And then,
but would he go after you? You're a kid.
Yeah, I think he'd kill anybody. But
he didn't kill those kids in part 6.
He didn't kill him. I don't remember that shit.
No.
Are you serious? But that was my plan. You know what? I had another secret.
On that
hear this
movie shit. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll be very fast.
Take your time.
At night, when
ninjas go to school. Yeah.
At night when all the ninjas are in their classes and you're scared as a kid and you think that Jason Voorhees is going to come in and kill you, I would put my hands underneath my pillow at night.
Oh, okay.
And I had designed, or I had imagined my pillow as in 3 sections: the left, the right, and the center. And I'd say, I'm going to place my hands under my pillow in 2 different areas. And then Jason, the imaginary Jason in my mind, will choose one of those areas. And if he chooses the same area, he will murder me tonight. But because this was all happening in my mind, he never chose the same area as I did. So every night I went to bed safe and sound.
Fascinating.
It worked.
I'm happy for you.
What was I talking about?
Coping skills. So the beat to shit Sho now finally makes it back to his place.
Battle damage Sho Kosugi.
Yeah.
Action figure right there.
Variant.
Yeah.
He sees his dead mom. Takes the
Cathy pantsless figure.
Takes the family necklace. It's his now. It's his to pass down to Kane one day. An emotional moment for Sho. Cops show up because again, that's what happens when people die or are murdered. Lieutenant Dime is like, hey, we got a missing persons on Kane. We'll find him. You know, trying to comfort him in some way. We go back to Braden's place, and this is what you were talking about earlier, Chris. Cathy just was too tempting for the good professor.
Yeah, things get a little rapey over at Braden's penthouse, and you would think that if there's one way to draw the ire of your boss, who you know is a deadly ninja, you'd probably not want to try to sexually assault his girlfriend, and that's exactly what happens. And Professor Toru Tanaka does not last much longer
But
because
it's
that's when his boss
almost early.
returns, right
Remember
in the middle of
earlier
the act.
though. Earlier when he's like, if she gets out of line, you know what to do.
I don't think he
You don't
meant
think he
that,
meant
though.
rapey? You just thought he meant kill her.
He's not Harvey
Yeah.
Weinstein.
So he'd be cool with him killing her, but not getting some pleasure.
Well, I mean, obviously not, because he decides to kill him and then utilize his ninja hypnosis to make her do his bidding.
I didn't know. Has there ever been another ninja movie where they use hypnosis?
Oh, I guarantee there is. And you know what? Braden's got that creepy ass mask, so it probably. Yeah. And you know what? I think part of the reason why he even kills Professor Toru Tanaka, Dr. Tanaka, is because he's pissed off. You know, Kane got away.
That's true too.
I think that he's kind of heated, and then when he sees Cathy nearly getting,
and he needs her.
Raped.
That's the other. He needs her. He doesn't need sumo servant.
No, which you know what, the guy that the other guy that is his like henchman.
The second henchman, like the replacement henchman.
He's so bad.
He's the worst.
Like what did he do? Like put out a classified ad and have it answered?
Whenever he killed him in the other room.
He has like sweatpants on and he just looks like a slob.
He looks like the worst henchman alive.
He's like the indie version of Toru Tanaka.
And Chief had 2 tomahawks.
Yeah.
I felt like we were cheated here because Braden had the worst henchman.
What happened to Chief too? He just he disappears after that scene. He didn't die, did he?
No, because the next time we see any of the mob people getting it, it's when they're in the high rise and it's just all the mob goons.
Chief has nowhere to be. He's took the rest of the day off.
Maybe he had reservations.
Maybe. Oh, hey, how are you? Okay. So
that was my favorite.
So here we go. Where am I? Oh yeah. Hypnosis. Yeah, he uses hypnosis to say, Cathy, you need to bring me Kane. All right. So now Dave.
I would have used it for something else.
I'm sure you would have. Dave finds Sho. Yeah, he should have used that instead of forcing himself on her earlier. He could have just made it easier.
Give me your best below dart.
Okay. Dave finds Sho and he says, hey, there's some ex-cons. They might know who took those dolls and where they're at. And of course they find these guys all hanging out at a playground. Because why wouldn't they be there? And
this hot moms there.
Okay, so this leads to the big playground fight. Steve Lambert, the stunt coordinator, is the cowboy in this scene.
R.I.P.
With the best fake mustache this side of Sleepaway Camp.
That gets a thing. And we should also point out that Lambert was the Silver Mask Ninja. Arthur Roberts did not know how to do ninja shit. So that continues the tradition that Franco Nero started of, let's cast somebody as a ninja who has 0 ninja abilities. But you put a mask on them and it could be anybody.
Right.
So yeah, Steve Lambert is the cowboy. We also get a shuriken belt buckle, which is pretty sweet. I do know there's one Facebook group that somebody was selling those shuriken belt buckles, and I was almost tempted to get him for the entire staff of Bulletproof Action.
Now I'm kind of
Christmas is coming.
Christmas is coming.
Yeah.
Unlike Professor Toru Tanaka.
Right. Yeah, take that. Now Kane at this point has made his way back home because he's a kid. He doesn't know what. He's lucky he got away, but he's going to come home. That's where he knows to go, and that's where he finds Cathy just hanging out practicing. This time with pants on. And we get quite the scene. This a scene that Chad Cruz apparently had to turn the volume down on. Take us through it, Chad.
Yeah, Cathy is practicing her a very specific striking form when Kane shows up, and she tries to stop Kane or try to grab Kane, and he ain't playing them games. He is not a victim. We've already seen him beat the shit out of like 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds, and he's not afraid to
6-year-olds.
6-year-olds. I felt like the bullies were a little bit older.
Oh
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, that's how
they were riding a
bullies
bike. Do 6-year-olds ride bikes? Some do, but
I mean, my 8-year-old has no interest in riding his.
really, my kids love their bikes.
Seems like they want to get away from you. Go on.
That's very possible. So Kane he's not worried about beating the shit out of a woman. He's not afraid to do it either. So he starts fighting her. Weapons are involved. He kicks her a lot. He punches her a lot. There's a lot of questions as to how long has she been training with Cho. Shouldn't she be able to beat a 6-year-old up? But in the end, she's able to kind of gather him up.
Well, that's because he shows mercy. He could have killed her. That ninja
could've.
blood
He's
is
got
running
the
through his
little-
veins.
He's 6, okay?
He's still a ninja.
He probably should have just stabbed her.
A 6-year-old ninja would no doubt could kill me right now.
I believe that for sure.
Yeah. I believe it too. What am I going to do about it? Just die. That's all. So yeah, she gets him though because he shows mercy. So she does as she's told, but then when she gets him to Braden, she's like, "You don't have to hurt him." And she gets knocked around for trouble. Braden then calls Cafano and it's like, "All right, I'm coming to get you now, you son of a bitch." So Cafano's guys are preparing for war in their high rise. Sho and Dave get back to the gallery, and Cathy gets on that damn phone again. Imagine if she had a cell phone, how much even easier it would be for her to just call all these people.
No, dude, she would have been on Pinterest and Instagram, Snapchat. She wouldn't have been
sending Instagrams. How many likes would pantsless Cathy photos
pantsless, dude. She would have a TikTok. No, she would.
He's gonna make that page right after we get done recording. We're gonna find at pantsless Cathy. Sending friend requests, and it's gonna have like 3 pictures, and it's whatever stills from the photo from the movie that he can find.
The first 3 that Chad found on Google, no matter what the quality was.
Yes,
because that's how he operates.
Yes.
So yeah, she calls. Braden's a ninja. He's got Kane. What? He is my friend. No, fuck you. He's not. And now he's going after Cafano. Braden walks in, so that phone conversation is cut short, and then he has his rent a thug or whatever, wherever he got this guy from, the temp agency.
Taco Bell.
Professor Toru Tanaka.
He's there. Yeah, take care of them. So he's torturing Cathy in a hot tub. Poor little Kane's in the sauna with his hands tied.
What's funny is Toru like take care of her. He's like, haha, rape her.
Right.
And this guy's like, take care of her. He's like, haha, spray her with a hose.
Yeah, not his hose.
And I do wonder if it was the stunt coordinator or Arthur Roberts in the guise when he's like, Cathy, you let me down. Like the way he's pointing at her, he looks like a teacher who's like scolding a child after school.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have done what you did, Cathy. I'm very disappointed in you.
David
It's like,
so yeah, we get this, and so Braden's like, yeah, she's got to go, Kane's got to go, Joe's got to go, everybody has to die, Tracy Smothers style. So Dave now is like, okay, when he's like, he finds out what did you find out? It's Braden. Oh well, we got to call Lieutenant Dime. No cops, because only a ninja can stop a ninja. Greatest line in the movie. and one that I've used so many times in my everyday life.
This time, it's personal.
You better believe it. And this is where we get the revenge of the ninja.
Yes.
So Cho hits like this button gimmick, and this hidden ninja chest comes out, and that awesome music starts up.
Oh, I love it.
That music is the best, and it just
one of the most motivational pieces of music in any film ever.
Absolutely, just build. And yeah, so Cho prepares for battle. He takes that, busts that seal, like you said, Chad. They made a point of it, so it's an even bigger deal when it happens. And now it's time for getting ready for our final showdown. We get the zip line from building to building, which is crazy ass, one of Steve Lambert's bigger stunts that he ever did. Just awesome. That's old school stunt work, Chad Cruz.
It's great.
No
it's
CGI, no nets, no air mattresses under. There's nothing. He just did it.
I've always said Steve Lambert's one of my favorites of all time.
I'm sure yes, you did. Rest in peace. So yeah, he zip lines. Shows up, and he has the things you talked about earlier, Chad, the little claw gimmicks on his hands and feet. So he's just gonna climb the side of the building at a certain point. I don't know where he'll decide to get in. Maybe the window that Braden went through.
He passed a lot of windows.
He did. He was making his way. He didn't go all the way up, but he was up there. Inside, Kafano is busting out. He's got the heavy artillery. He's ready. He's like ready for war. Good buddy Dave, he's a real friend, Chris. He's not going to let Cho do this all on his own. Even though
he decides to show up and just starts fighting his way in. And the one guy, he's like, we don't need you here. We don't need you here. And he just starts throwing kicks and punches.
Kaifano's guys are just the worst.
Yeah, I bet you if Chief was out there, that wouldn't have happened.
Seriously, where's Chief and the rest of that crew that was fighting? Like, they were like, we brought you guys in to steal these dolls, and then you can go home.
They might have the Chad Cruz schedule, like 3 days on, 3 days off.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good schedule to have, especially when you're, you're working with the mob.
Right, and you're jumping out of 2-story windows with a wooden crate.
Imagine Chief in this scene here, and Dave shows up. Yeah, what a stupid name, Dave, right? All our listeners named Dave, turn it off.
Right.
Could have had Chief versus Dave on the outside of the penthouse while the ninjas made their way through.
Mm-hmm.
And we've already seen Chief be a badass, right? Now we could have seen him with like could have fucking pulled his shirt off and had like war paint on.
Yeah, maybe a loincloth.
Pop that shirt off, drop the loincloth down.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have.
All right. I can understand the pantsless Cathy, but you've just this has taken a turn, Chad Cruz.
You said it, Chris. Sam wanted equal representation, so you had a pantsless woman.
All right, yeah,
so
that's true.
We needed a pantsless man.
I think it's an intimidation thing, right? If you're like trying to fight me and I rip my clothes off, I mean, come at me, bro.
After the laughter, come after him. Right.
Now you have to feel what's going on down there.
No, you don't. No.
I'm going to make you feel it.
I'm feeling uncomfortable.
All right, so Toru Tanaka's not the only one getting rapey tonight. Jesus.
Chad Cruz is back. So yeah. It would have been good. Like Dave could have taken out like one of the big, like he could have taken out
one of the big bads.
Yeah, and at least he wouldn't have been such a jobber, as we will see here momentarily. So that's going on. Meanwhile, smart Kane. Now I'll tell you what, Kane is reminding me at this point. What is that kid's name in
Kane?
No, remember in Maximum Overdrive. Remember that kid? He was like the smartest one out of all of them.
Right, blonde-haired kid.
I can't remember his name. But yeah, he was good. And that's what Kane's reminding me of here. He uses the hot coals to burn through his ropes. He then gets out of the sauna. There's some nunchaku involved because we haven't had much of that in a ninja movie. So I'm glad they worked that in. He takes out that worthless piece of shit guy. Frees Cathy, who now once again gets on that damn telephone. This woman is obsessed with the phone. But this time she is in a wet t-shirt.
Yes, she is. Kane's just standing there.
Eye level.
And her tits are hanging out.
Eye level. to me, and you can. I'll give you a spoiler because it's all Revenge of the Ninja today on the site. I have 20 reasons why you rock Revenge of the Ninja, and I have this in there. I believe this is the moment that Kane Kosugi said, "I am going to go into acting for the rest of my life," as he just found himself eye to eye. Well, you know, maybe not eye to eye, but
yeah, areola. I had the movie turned down already volume wise, but then I paused it because I wanted to get a look at those warlocks.
You paused it. Okay. Did you watch it in
a lot of people are
HD?
pausing this podcast right now, wondering if they can make it through the rest.
We're almost done, everybody.
I was on Tubi the other day.
Tubi had it. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I popped out the Blu-ray.
Oh, whoop-de-doo.
That's right, son of a bitch. Braden does get to Kafano, takes him out. When he leaves there, that's when he crosses path with Dave, who has made his way inside. And we get a little bit of Dave and Braden, but it's not much. And Dave ends up dead. Joe shows up as he's dying, and Braden ends up on the roof. And what a place to have! I mean, I would think rooftop finales are up there with like final fights in the rain, Chad Cruz.
Yeah. If you could do a rooftop finale in the rain,
you're double dipping right there.
That's big time. But this one, this is a great finale. I mean, it's two masterful martial artists going at it. You know, Steve Lambert and the silver mask gimmick, and then Sho Kosugi. And I mean, they're using all these different weapons, and they're like I said earlier about the mysticism and the magic, you know, the whole magic shit about the ninjas. It's just like so cool, and the fight is unlike fights in other movies featuring martial artists. You're not just getting punches and kicks. You're just getting so much more, and it's like a fun fight, and it seems like it goes on for a long time.
Yeah, you know, they gave it some time.
This movie is a series of fights with a little bit of this sprinkled in and that.
Well, that was the canon formula. I think it was every 10 minutes there needed to be some action going on. It was
they don't mess around. And
we get a lot of fighting in the penthouse too, leading up to it. I mean, we get a lot of the mob goons getting taken out by both ninjas.
They're all over the place, getting their shit in.
Spikes in their
arms
face.
Getting cut off, guys going face first into spikes.
Yeah.
And they ninja people. You know, we talk about ninjaing people. They don't just run into a building and start, you know, killing people with swords. That's not what ninjas do. They sneak in, they climb up walls, they zip line in, they fucking come around the corner and slice a dude's throat. You know, they don't fight in a conventional way, which, you know, the mobsters are all standing out like goons in the fucking courtyard. And the guy's like, okay, you stand over there. Okay, you go 6 feet that way and stand there. And all those guys died. You know, it was pretty sad.
Well, they've never dealt with ninja before.
Exactly. And that's what's so special about this. And then, you know, as the final fight's about to happen, the two ninjas square off. And what do? They take their moment to do their little fucking
ceremony.
Like they do their thing, whatever that's called.
Yeah, they do that. And
I do that.
We get a volleyball court sword fight. You know, Braden has left some of his best tricks for this finale. Has quite the number of things up his sleeve, including a flamethrower.
Flamethrower, a fake arm.
The fake arm, yeah, in the hot tub. Something special.
The fake arm is special.
Yeah, I've never seen that in anything else.
And where was he carrying the fake arm? He didn't have like a ninja backpack on.
Keistered.
Maybe it came in pieces in his bag and he assembled it.
Prison wallet.
All right. Braden does, of course, sport. And you know what I love about it is you see the buildings behind him, the rest of the skyline. You see the mountains in the distance. It just looks awesome. It looks epic. It looks huge.
And I believe this was supposed to be filmed in LA, but it was actually filmed in like Salt Lake City or somewhere.
Salt Lake City, correct. Yeah. They gave him a bunch of tax breaks.
Hell yeah.
And yeah. So and they made use. It looked beautiful. It looked perfect. And epic fight has to end with an epic death, and I think we got that with this movie.
With the Silver Mask Ninja getting split down the middle by Cho.
That's a pretty definitive death. He's not coming back for the third one. Of course, neither is Cho really, but he does at the same time. So it's a
ninja in name only for that third one.
It's a trilogy like none other. Cathy and Kane do show up as this fight ends, and we get the happy father and son reunion, and the end credits roll, and that is Revenge of the Ninja. Chris, I know this is your all-time favorite ninja movie.
It is.
Final thoughts.
This was not only my all-time favorite ninja movie, I've said it before on the site, this was the first R-rated movie I ever saw when I was 4 years old. And to further my joke about cloning myself, this was the first R-rated movie that my son saw, also when he was 4. And this is still a favorite of his to this day. But this is a movie that, when we do these podcasts, usually I'll rewatch something just to kind of get it fresh in my head. Might be a while since I've seen it, or even if it's only been, within a couple of months. But this is a movie that I could talk about ad nauseum for 24 hours straight and never get bored. And photographic recollection of everything. It's a canon classic. It's a ninja classic. It's a sentimental favorite. I mean, this movie delivers on in a lot of ways for me, and I love it, and I'm glad I get a chance to talk about it.
Chad Cruz.
Fantastic movie. Obviously, it should have been number one, and it was. So that makes me feel good to know that our fans and our contributors know what they're talking about, because this is just like, if it's not your favorite ninja movie of all time, you probably just haven't seen it in a while. I hadn't actually seen it in some time, so it was great for a rewatch. Yeah, I mean, you just get so many great things in this. Sho Kosugi is so awesome. I mean, he's not going to like win an Oscar or anything, but he's playing a ninja, so who gives a shit? There's tons of awesome fights. Yeah, I mean, what more can you say? There are ninjas. They do ninja things, and there's lots of revenge. So that's perfect.
It's as advertised for sure. Yep. I don't know if this was a first R-rated movie. It definitely has to be one of the first canon movies I saw. It's either this, Breakin' 2, or Missing in Action. I can't pinpoint exactly which was, but they all sort of came around at the same time for me.
I mean, I can't be mad at you for any of those.
Right. I mean, they're all wonderful films. And 2 of them directed by Mr. Furstenberg. So yeah, just a great movie, one of canon's best. Again, I like you, Chad, I'm glad this one was number one. It did not surprise me when it was number one when we did the ninja countdown. I probably would have been offended if it was not. It's just wonderful, and glad we got. I'll talk about a canon movie every time if you let me. So I'm glad we got to talk about it here on the Bulletproof Podcast. But now I think it's time to wrap things up. But before we go, we've mentioned it a few times here already, but what's going on, Chris, over at Figures Toy Company? Is there an Apache Chief sale?
Yeah, well, we do have a Super Friends sale going on right now where you can get 12 of the Super Friends retro figures for $149.99. So a big discount. And that's not just on older stock, but it also includes some of the newer figures like Hawkman, which just came out earlier this year. You've probably seen that we've released a special edition of the Midnight Express with Jim Cornette, exclusively through jimcornette.com. It's the first time that Dennis Condrey has ever had an action figure. It's the first time that all 3 members have been with Jim Cornette in any type of packaging. It is a limited edition, but we will have variants of all 3 members on our own website in the months to come, along with a variant Stan Lane in Heavenly Bodies attire to match the Dr. Tom Pritchard that's currently in stock. So you could have a pair of the original Heavenly Bodies. Plenty of new stuff coming down the pike, not just wrestling, also to do with our other licenses. The Three Stooges, we've got Curly Joe Dorita and Joe Besser coming out, along with the We Want Our Mummy set, which features another one of their famous co-stars, that being the goon that was dressed as a mummy in that episode. So stay tuned to figurestoycompany.com. It's at Figures Toy Co. on Twitter. Figures Toy Company on Facebook and Instagram, and see for yourself everything that we've got and everything that we've got coming up.
All right, thank you. And yeah, the holidays are not too far off, so definitely if you are an action figure enthusiast or know one, check them out. And while we're talking social media, of course, at Bulletproof Pod on Twitter, at Bulletproof Action on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. And I did want to throw out a plug to our friend Jonathan London on his Geekscape podcast. He interviewed Mr. Michael Jai White about Outlaw Johnny Black and more. So if that's of interest to you, you might want to check it out. I'm sure it is, because we love Michael Jai White here on this show, Chad Cruz.
We do indeed.
Coming up on bulletproofaction.com later this month, The Expendables 4 will be out here soon. I'll be checking that one out. Chris, I know there's another new movie that you're excited to check out in a
Would you be
long-running
speaking?
franchise.
That's right. The latest in the Sniper franchise. We were just talking about Sniper when I did the anniversary post about some of the famous action films that were celebrating 30 years this year. Sniper, the first one, came out in January of '93, and we're going to be ending 2023 with the latest installment featuring friend of the site, Chad Michael Collins, the return of Dennis Haysbert to the franchise. It's looking pretty good. I'm interested in checking it out. Sniper, Grit, Grit. It's coming out at the end of this month, so look out for that.
Yep, we will have that. Also, The Continental will debut on Peacock. I believe it's a 3-parter. That's from the world of John Wick, so that's something of interest as well. I believe Ryan Campbell will be covering that for us. He's very excited about it. I'm going to check it out too, because I'm a big John Wick mark. Chad Cruz, anything you want to talk about before we wrap things up?
Thanks a lot for tuning into the episode. I think it's going to be a fun rest of the year, because there's some things that we have in store that are planned, and then there's also some moments that might just come off the cuff, and we don't know what we're going to do, which sometimes makes it much more fun. But as always, we love to hear suggestions from our fans, from our listeners, and we love having guests on. So if you enjoyed the Toyman, let us know, and keep on clicking.
Absolutely. Could not agree more. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. And as always, stay tuned for more of the Bulletproof Podcast.